Now today we discuss pulmonary tuberculosis, and the agent is Mycobacterium tuberculosis. We discuss with you the major virulence factor of this microorganism in detail in the previous lecture. Today we discuss pathogenesis of pulmonary tuberculosis. As you know, Mycobacterium tuberculosis primarily affect the lung, but can also cause disease in almost any other tissues. The way it spreads and damages the body depends upon two factors, that is the presence of the organism as well as the host immune response against this microorganism. As you know, the first exposure, usually by inhalation into the lungs, the host has no specific immunity against this microorganism. The inhaled bacteria cause a local infiltration of the neutrophils and macrophages and some edematous fluid which is gathered towards the local foci. And this local foci accompanied by infiltration of the neutrophils and the macrophages. So this is the first stage, and the type of lesion is called exudative lesion. It consists of an acute inflammatory response and the initial site of the action, initial site of the infection, where neutrophils, macrophages, and edematous fluid are collected. Due to the various virulence factor of this microorganism, the phagocytosed bacteria are not destroyed. It means this microorganism containing so much virulence factors that they gets entry to the phagocytes. We can say intracellular entry or intracellular growth. The bacteria are not destroyed, but they can get entry and reside within the cell in a small vacuoles called vesicles. They multiply and survive in these macrophages. The bacteria spread through the lymphatic and blood to set up other foci, distant site. This period of facultative microorganism is called intracellular survival or growth, and the lesion is called exudative lesion. As we discussed, it consists of acute inflammatory reaction with edematous fluid, neutrophil, and later macrophages surrounded the tubercle bacilli. Now the second lesion, which is called granulomatous lesion or productive lesion, it starts by the appearance of the cell-mediated immunity. The first lesion where there is no good immune system which destroys this microorganism, so it is for usually of short lifetime because the host rapidly requires its primary defense against the acid-fast microorganism is called cell-mediated immunity. Now some of the macrophages succeed in phagocytizing and breaking up the invading bacteria. These macrophages then run to the local foci present within the lung and the nearby lymph node and presented part of the bacteria which activate T helper cells. Now, when this T helper cell sensitized by the presence of this microorganism, it releases a type of chemical substances which is called lymphokines. Now, what is the function of lymphokines? These lymphokines attract macrophages and activate them when they reaches to the site of infection. Mean lymphokines attracted macrophages, and these macrophages are these soldier are well-trained macrophages reaches to the foci. These activated macrophages can now destroy the bacteria. This is the first attack or the first victory by the cellular immunity against this microorganism. But during this stage, the macrophages attack actually result in local destruction. Remember, with the destruction of the macrophages, with the dissection of the mycobacteria, these macrophages also attacking and results local dissection of the lung tissue. This astonishing characteristic feature that's destroy the microorganism as well as produce the destruction of the lung tissues. And necrotizing area observed. The necrosed tissue looks like a granular, creamy, cheesy substances surrounded by a multinucleated giant cells, macrophages, fibroblast, and collagen deposits. And with followed by a result at the end form a granuloma or tubercle structure. The bacteria are kept live, are viable, remain in it, and it is walled off by the cellular immunity. And at some point in the future, perhaps does a depression of the immune system or the resistance, the bacteria may grow again. Now, the second feature or the presentation or the lesion, it is called granulomatous or productive lesions. It is characterized by chronic granulomatous formation. Granuli erodes lying structure of the lung, then goes spread to the different parts of the body and causes secondary lesion. Now, a strange point here we discuss with you that the cellular immunity active dually, the dual action. First, it protects the microorganism, means walled off in a tubercular area, and they here survive, as well as provided immune system to the human. So, it is the astonishing and strange characteristic feature of this microorganism that the cellular immunity against this microorganism protect this microorganism as well as to human also. So there are two types of lesions we discuss in the pathogenesis. That is, one is the exudative lesion and second is the granulomatous lesion. Now in the granulomatous lesion, sometimes a point is asked, what is Ghun complex? So we discuss here Ghun complex. As we discussed the second lesion, that is the granulomatous lesion, here a calcifying tubercle in the middle or lower lung zone, accompanied by a perihilar lymph node, means erosion of this nearest lymph node perihilar is also infected by this manifestation and also calcified these nodes. So this whole structure, calcified areas of the middle or lower lung foci, accompanied by calcified perihilar lymph nodes, collectively is called Ghun complex or Rank complex. Remember for MCQs, Ghun or Rank complex. What is this? It is the calcified tubercle accompanied by calcification of the perihilar lymph node. Collectively, this structure pathologically is called Ghun or Rank complex, and it can be seen on a X-ray like a tubercular white spot with the involvement of the nearmost enlargement of the perihilar lymph node. Now we proceed towards the clinical manifestation or sequence of pathogenic sequence of pulmonary tuberculosis. These sequences we are grouped into two: primary tuberculosis and secondary tuberculosis or reactivation tuberculosis. First is called primary tuberculosis and second is called reactivation tuberculosis or secondary tuberculosis. Now we discuss primary tuberculosis. Mycobacterium tuberculosis, as we discussed, transmissions in the form of droplet nuclei. Majority of the effect is the adult, their secretion during cough, spreading, laughing, or talking. So a single nuclei containing about 10 microorganisms suspended in the air about 10 to 15 minutes, easily inhaled by one of the healthy person which is near to it. The inspired droplet laying in the area of the lung, this thing we discussed in the previous linings, but we repeated that you know what is primary and secondary tuberculosis. The inspired droplet laying in the areas of the lung, and as we discussed, highest airflow region mean the middle and the lower lung zone. Here they make a small foci where inflammatory cells are reach and start a first sign of exudative lesion. Now this primary tuberculosis, at that time bacteria enter through macrophages, multiply, erode the alveoli, reach to the lymphatic cells, lymphatic system, or to the bloodstream, to the regional lymph node, are the nearest areas of the lungs, which is the regional lymph node, especially cervical lymph node, as well as submandibular lymph nodes. Now, this tuberculosis, that is the primary stage, is into two forms: asymptomatic and symptomatic stage. Asymptomatic primary stage and the symptomatic primary stage. As the name indicate, so the first stage of the primary infection, the cell-mediated defense kick in, and the foci of bacteria become walled up in the caseous granulomas. This granuloma then heal with fibrosis, calcifying, and scar formation. So at that time, there is no sign symptom appears in the man. Now this asymptomatic patient, or it is called exposed patient, is only identified or diagnosed by a chest X-ray or the PPD reaction, like the tuberculin test. Now the symptomatic stage, there's the primary tuberculosis occurs frequently or certainly more commonly in children or the elder or the immunocompromised patient, and these group do not have as powerful a cell-mediated immune system as to healthy adult, so the organism are not suppressed. So the first we discuss primary tuberculosis. So remember, primary tuberculosis is the start from the primary foci and ended at the granulomatous or productive lesion in the lung or perihilar lymph node, as well as the nearest lymph node like cervical or the submandibular. Now, in first we say asymptomatic, in second we say symptomatic. So, as we discuss symptomatic, that this microorganism, when immunity deprived, are commonly in children and old age patient. So what's happened, as we discuss, these groups do not have as powerful cell-mediated immune system, and so the signs symptoms start to be appear, and they are fever and fatigue, anorexia, weight loss, malaise and weakness, productive cough, mucoid first, later purulent, greenish in color, and followed by streaking of blood within the sputum. Pruritus, pruritic pain, night sweating, as well as weight loss. Now the secondary or reactivation tuberculosis. As the word indicate, reactivation mean the bacilli which is present within the tubercle. So this is a tuberculous area erodes or macrophages burst, and microorganism releases from this primary infection or the primary tuberculous zones. So most adult cases of tuberculosis occur after the bacteria have been dormant for some time. As again reactivate. So these microorganisms again seeded in the area of the lung. In other parts of the lungs are also the parts of the lungs as well as through lymph and blood system. They reach to other organ system of our body after the primary infection and produce tuberculosis. So this type of tuberculosis is called reactivation tuberculosis or secondary tuberculosis. Now the complication of the secondary or reactivation tuberculosis. As we discuss pulmonary tuberculosis, second pleural and pericardial infection, lymph node infection. Shortly, we discuss this thing that it is a worldwide problem. The most common extrapulmonary manifestation of the tuberculosis is the erosion of the lymph node, and that is the cervical lymph node are usually involved. They become swollen, met together and drain lymph node tuberculosis. And this type of tuberculosis, that is the cervical erosion of the cervical lymph node, that is called sacrofula. Remember for MCQs, SCROFULA. That is the extra pulmonary tuberculosis or the external manifestation of the pulmonary tuberculosis, and it is the worldwide. And the most common extrapulmonary tuberculosis, cervical lymph nodes here enlarges, unite with each other, make a big swelling area, and then drain. Sometime pus is also drained through this infection, and after the lab diagnosis, it was confirmed that it is the tubercular lymph nodes. Kidney. Mycobacterium tuberculosis also infect the kidney, skeletal muscles, thoracic and lumbar spine, intravertebral disc also destroyed, and the adjacent vertebral bodies is behind the lungs. Joints, chronic arthritis. In differential diagnosis, we can include, and sometimes by laboratory diagnosis, we can exclude the joint or the chronic arthritis. So one of the cause may be the tuberculous joint. Nervous system, subacute meningitis. That this microorganism also reach to the meningitis and produce tubercular meningitis, where we test the CSF or the presence of this microorganism as well as the percentage of the sugar and of the protein within the CSF fluid. Now this is another most important complication called miliary tuberculosis. Remember sometime there's Gruen complex and miliary tuberculosis. The examiner asked in the paper. So shortly we discuss. This is the tiny millet. Remember it's extra pulmonary as well as pulmonary presentation. Tiny millet seed size tuberculosis means small granuloma disseminated all over the body like a shotgun blast. So all over the body mean different organs of the body. But as for example liver, kidney, but majority by the X-ray finding we observe this thing in the lungs, where a riddled or small tubercle bacilli in the form of millet mean tiny millet mean bullet, छोटी छोटी छरादार टाइप का स्ट्रक्चर्स इसमें हम ऑब्जर्व कर सकते हैं. A chest film or the chest X-ray will sometimes show a millet seed pattern. मीन छोटे छोटे सफ़ेद सुराख नुमा, जैसा कि किसी गन शॉट या उसके पेलेट के ज़रिए लंग्स को लगे हों, इस तरीके से अपीयरेंस एक्सरे चेस्ट के ऊपर नज़र आते हैं. थ्रू आउट द लंग, दिस डिजीज़ इज़ यूजुअली अकर्स इन द एल्डरली and it is called miliary tuberculosis. As you see the slide with the heading of pathogenicity, but dear student, we discuss in detail with you in the primary and secondary as well as exudative and granulomatous lesions in detail. But remember two things in this slide, that is the CD4 T cell, which is responsible as a cellular immunity. Remember this thing for MCQs. Second, this microorganism do not produce any type of demonstrable toxin, mean none type of toxin produced by this microorganism. Only the virulence factors, that is the mycolic acid, repetitive proteins, cod factors, trihalose, and VAX-D in the form of adjuvant. Second, their residence in the intracellular within the macrophages. Now, this is the diagrammatic representation of the pathogenesis of this microorganism. You can read easily that first arrow show a single bacterium which is reached to the alveolar area and engulfed by a macrophages. Tubercle bacilli are inhaled into the alveoli of the lung and ingested by macrophages, but not are killed. And in what time? It's mean that a majority of the microorganism destroyed. But if there is deprived immune system, or there is other chronic diseases like diabetes or other chronic diseases, here also the self immunity there is a deficient, so the microorganism cannot destroyed by the macrophages. Second, this microorganism is strongly virulent, so some of them destroy, but majority of them gets entry to the macrophages and reside here. Second arrow diagrammatic representation shows you tubercle bacilli multiply in the macrophages, causes additional macrophages, mean multiply and remultiply, to migrate into the area, mean primary focusing area, forming an early tubercle are the primary foci. Third show. Second shows the exudative lesion. Third show you agglomeratous area. After a few weeks, many of the macrophages die, releasing tubercular bacilli and forming a caseous centralized area with tubercular, which is surrounded by lymphocyte, giant cells, fibroblasts, etc., and the centralized calcified zone. So, this is the second pathological presentation that is called tuberculous granulomatous lesion. The fourth one show you some individual a mature tubercle is formed is a firm outer layer containing fibroblast surrounded the mass macrophages, lymphocytes, mass of macrophages, lymphocyte, giant cells, epithelioid cells, which and caseous centralized area which make them a big tubercle-like structure and centralized liquefaction. And one thing for remember for MCQs, this is a type of caseous necrosis because the centralized area is caseous, creamy, necrotic material is present, forming a tuberculous cavity in which the bacilli multiply. And the last stage is show to you reactivation or the reactive secondary tuberculosis, where this tubercular burst and the microorganism released from here reaches to the other area or organ and producing disseminated throughout the respiratory system, also extrapulmonary tuberculosis.